I think we have a difference of understanding what love is and how you love somebody. Me personally, and from what I read and understood in biblical terms, is love is like charity. You love somebody without anything in return. It's you doing it because you just want to do it. You're not forced to do it. So I can love my family, love my wife or whatever. Uh, just because I sleep with someone else doesn't mean I don't love her. You could still love her. You just being disrespectful. I think those two things are very separate.
Darwin, then the only question would be: do you feel like your wife would still love you if she cheated?
Yeah, hold on, wait. You said if my wife cheated, do I feel like she would still love me?
Yes.
I can't answer. How can I answer that?
That's why we said, do you feel like? We didn't say what you
Well,
know, but
I would have a bias. I mean, I would have a bias. I would have a position against it because I was betrayed. So I would automatically just say, no, she must don't love me.
Can I
But
just
then
say
you
one
would have
thing?
to
Thank
answer.
you.
hold on.
You
Let
yourself
Mistaken
couldn't
go.
answer that. That would have to come from her.
We
This
got
is
you.
the
Let Mistaken
thing
go.
that I was going to say. For love does not mean without fault, right? So I do believe men and women both can cheat and still love the person that they're with, because you're judging the act, which is effed up. But if you truly love the person, you you're not going to stop loving them because they messed up, right? Everybody is in like relationships, and they're not going to be 100% that does something that does not impact you in some way, right? Somebody might cuss you out, somebody might, right? That doesn't negate the fact that you love them. Humans are humans and they will make mistakes. So that doesn't change the love for the person. So I actually uh, um, disagree with Ruth in the fact of saying if you cheat, you don't love me. I do believe men can cheat and still love their woman, but what I know what Marcus just said when she flipped the script and said, well, if a woman cheats, then she doesn't love me. No, it's the same across the board. Especially if men judge love by like acts, like duty, which is a lot of times what they say in marriage. That's why they don't leave, about being happy, because they still do their duty. If you're judging love based on that as a man, then if a woman cheats but yet she's still doing her due diligence as a wife, then she's still expressing to you that she loves you, right? So I think we have to separate the love from the cheating. I do think both of them are being disrespectful, regardless of who does it. But I
Okay.
think the love can still be there. Now, you just might not like it, but society values a woman's fidelity and supports a man's infidelity. And I think that's the problem.
So I think Darwin touched on it a little bit. It just depends on how you define love. And I think for every person that's different. I know for me personally, love is not just a feeling. It's a foundation of principles. It's respect, it's trust, it's commitment, it's communication. When those things get rocky, you start to show me that your love is dissipating. If love is just it really just depends on a person and how they define it. But also I think there's levels to violations. I don't want to sit here and pretend that you yelling at me is the same thing as you cheating on me. There's levels, even in spirituality, even when we talk about the Bible, there's levels to sin, right? There's levels to violation as it pertains to a marriage. So I'm not going to sit here and just act like, all right, well, me not washing the dishes is the same as me cheating on him. There are levels to that. Some acts are just very egregious, and knowing your partner is the most important thing in this whole equation. I mean, there's a lot of steps you got to take before you actually cheat on somebody, before you actually commit that act. You have to be communicating with that person. You have to make plans and make arrangements. There's so much deceit involved in cheating, and so many steps that you take before you get to that point. It's not just like a oops, I fell in the vagina, or I fell on the D. It it's it's strategic and it's a choice.
Okay, so I think like especially pre 25, the way our testosterone is set up, it's almost like a drug addiction to the way we seek and desire sex. You can also feel withdrawals. It's one of the reasons why 13 to 14-year-old boys, when they hit puberty, they be in the bathroom all day. It's because you have this innate desire to release that semen, and it does not have any emotional connection. Now it can, but we can have 100% of our sexual encounters have no emotional attachment and 100% bust a nut. Most women, according to studies, say they don't even come from vaginal penetration. We're wired differently, and we go about that differently. It's the reason I'm saying that you can love the person, because it does not, like, the love and sex for us isn't in the same box. Now women can adapt to not having love and sex in the same box, or go through trauma and not have love and sex in the same box. But most times love and sex, the way Ruth described it, are in the same box for the majority of women. For the majority of men who have the option to have like she said, fall into the pussy sex, it's not in the same box. I literally could go to the club, be drinking, and, like, for proverbial sake, fall into some pussy without planning it or none of that shit. Like you can get some at the club, like in the VIP section. It's just not the same. I'm just saying, it's really just not the same. You can, it happens. It really does happen.
Okay, can I go now?
So I'll go after you, Di.
So just back to the video. When men are programmed to have sex. I don't know if, because I know I'm from the same environment she's from. I'm still going through that, coming out of it. So I don't know if she meant like if men were born that way or literally programmed to cheat, if that makes any sense. I feel like men are definitely taught that they can't control that. I think men are definitely taught to think less of themselves. I feel like, yes, when you're younger and you're high school, yes, that's cool. We're not talking about high school. You learn how to control your testosterone. At this point, you're dealing with dopamine, the dopamine that sex brings, and it constantly. So, for instance, if if just tell me if I'm wrong, and I want you to answer this question for me, Marcus, and then I'm gonna finish my statement. But when you were young and you was out in the streets doing everything you was doing, you weren't necessarily healed. Am I correct? And were you as spiritually in tune as you are now?
No, but that
Okay,
also
so let me answer. So I just want that part. So so yeah, because I think that has a lot to do with it. Men are taught to deal with a lot of their problems with sex. When men solve, when it comes to, and I feel like, and this is the reason why I'm gonna say this. For instance, men do not like to be attached to the emotion insecurity. They hate it. But at the end of the day, a lot of men, when they're not feeling safe with the woman, and they feel like instead of communicating, if they don't know how to communicate their emotions and spiritually, they tend to just go off and react. They're so used to reacting and thinking there's no consequence, because they like, well, we don't get as attached as women. Just because you're not getting attached, don't mean that action doesn't affect us in a very dangerous and harmful way. And I think when y'all start to understand that, instead of downplaying it, see, society downplays it from when men are children. When a man doing it, uncles doing it, and just things, they tend to, like y'all said, women are like a trophy. So if the more women you have underneath your belt, you tend to get praised for it. They're taught that this is part of masculinity. This is what masculinity is, and they tend to make a mistakes, and then they and be trying to become masculine. They get all these women. They're causing all this dopamine in their brain, and now they're in a society where things ain't always so good. Now you got to go through problems, and they're always thinking, well, I need to feel better. I need to feel better. And most healed men, because it's not, I don't want to say all men do this, but most of the men that do this, they're not mature. They haven't grown up. They haven't healed. And these is one of the ways that society has programmed men to deal with this. And I think once you get older and you mature, you realize that ain't the way to go. And it's not just to deal with their emotions. Just think about what men get for having so many women underneath their belt. They're taught that it's okay. Women, on the other hand, even though women do it as closely as much, they're not Like, girl, the excuse is not finding, like, go cheat, go do this, go do that. It's more so like, I don't know how to explain it because I feel like I'm getting off topic because there's so many thoughts that's going through my head, and I have so many examples on how society just like downplay the effect that it has on women. And I feel like when men understand it, then they're more like, okay, yeah, I can come. They take it a little bit more seriously. But before they find that woman that they feel like, I love her, I want to be with her, they feel like that's part of life and it's cool because they don't have an attachment to the woman, and it's not.